Hey, what's up, fellow YouTubers? I just want to do a quick update video for you guys. The hour meter is at 49 and a half, and these skag blades are done. But I definitely got my money's worth out of them. You can see that the ears they're gone, but I can still cut grass with these blades. I just got to go over it twice because obviously I don't have any lift. So I know in the previous video I was like, I think I said I'm going to get like 60 hours out of these blades or something. Now, I mean, I was wrong, so I wanted to let you guys know I was wrong. But I think I'm still correct in my point in saying that I'm still going to run these skag blades, and here's why. Because I found I can buy these skag blades off Amazon for $50 and some change with free shipping, and that works out to like $8.47 a blade. Alright, now after tons and tons of searching online, number one, I can't even really find these blades online. Very few people have them, and the cheapest I found them for was $16 and some change per blade. So it's still, I'm looking at, 33 plus tax for 2 blades. So it's just not feasible. So I just wanted to share that little update with you guys. The skag blades did last as long as the factory blades. I don't quite remember, but I think it was somewhere around 24-25 hours when I put the skag blades on, and we're pretty much right at 50, half hour away from 50. So lasted the same amount of time, but they're half the cost. So still a good idea in my opinion. Also, a couple little updates I wanted to share with you guys. About 45 hours, I started having problem turning the machine left and right. And what happened is my casters were getting stiff. So I wanted to show you guys, I added a grease circ, okay? If you look, that's about where it is. All you gotta do, it's got 2 plastic bushings in there, okay? And there's a split in between the 2 bushings about this far. So that's where I drilled my hole and tapped it and put a grease circ in there. Let me tell you, that made a world of difference. So they should have included that. I put it in the back. I figured it'd be most protected there from stuff smacking the front of the machine and everything. So put one on each side, and that helped out tremendously. So you might want to, if you got one of these Airens, or really any zero-turn mower that has casters and there's no way to grease them, because from the factory, when I pulled this apart, I took this nut out and it slides out. There was grease on there, but what was happening was the grease was dried out and it had dirt and crap in it. So it was, obviously dirt causes friction. It was just, all it would have happened is it would have wore out them bushings, and I would have had to replace them. So instead of going through all that, why don't you just grease it? Now, me personally, I learned from my old Airens that these wheel bearings, I don't remember what the book says to grease them, but I grease these things religiously every single time I have this mower up in the air, because these, I guess because they see a lot of dirt blasting them, if you don't grease these every single time, I'd say at least every 10 hours, at least, pump some grease in these things, or you're going to be eating those bearings up, which isn't really a big deal. They sell those bearings at Tractor Supply. They're cheap enough, but why go through it? Just pump some grease in there. So there's that. Also, I took my pulley guards off. It just makes it a heck of a lot cleaner, easier to clean the grass out from the deck. But another thing I wanted to share with you, I looked at the manual just because I wanted to see if they had like a sand blade option for this, which they don't. But I wanted to note, it was interesting. There's 2 things that was interesting. Number one, I was reading the maintenance info, and it does not tell you to change the oil after 10 hours of running it. I did mine anyway, because that's common sense. It's a brand new motor. It's going to run. It's going to break in. There's going to be metal shavings. That's just natural. But I believe the manual says change the oil every 50 hours. It does not say anything about a break-in, change it after 10 hours. So you guys might want to do that. I don't care what the manual says. When I changed this at 10 hours, I mean, it looked like there was metal confetti in the oil. It was nice and glittery, sorry. But that's to be expected. I mean, it's a new motor. It's being broke in. So I don't care what the manual says. After 10 hours, you should change this oil and filter. Another thing that I don't like is it literally tells you when you go to engage your blades to have the throttle up to the rabbit. Up here, this is full throttle, and then engage your blades. And literally it says, if you engage at the turtle, then damage to the clutch and belts is possible. Now let me tell you, that's the most backwards thing I've ever heard in my life. I've been running zero-turn mowers and mowers with electric PTOs for a long time. I mean, at least 15 years. And I have always, my practice, some people go down to half throttle. I turn mine all the way down to idle. And I make sure, obviously, I'm not sitting in tall grass or something, but I turn mine all the way down to idle, engage the blades, then throw it up. And that's what I do every time. I have never, ever had the machine running wide open and engage the clutch. I mean, think about that for just a second with some common sense. You got that motor screaming wide open and you go to pop that clutch. Okay, that clutch is slamming up in there and it's got the full inertia of that motor running, and it's, so that's wear on your clutch. And then you got, your belt. I would imagine there's probably going to be some slip there, at least a really hard tug. That's just a bad idea. I mean, if you got a manual transmission car, do you rev it up to like 3,500 RPM and then let off the clutch? No, you don't, because you're going to burn your clutch up like that. So, I don't know who wrote the manual, but all I can say is from now on, don't listen to everything your manual says. If you see something that doesn't make sense to you, common sense wise, I would question it, because I didn't read the manual when I got the machine. I mean, what for? It's a lawnmower. I mean, come on, there's nothing special about it. And just for, I was sitting there bored, looking to see if they had a part number for sand blades, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just skim through it real quick. And I'm kind of glad I did, because to me, that's false information. Number one, them not telling you to change your oil after 10 hours. I mean, I don't know what would happen. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't hurt the motor. I don't know. I didn't manufacture the motor. But to me, common sense wise, I would think that all those metal shavings floating around in that motor for an additional 40 hours, how can that possibly be good? I don't know. Somebody tell me. Number two, putting the throttle all the way up before you engage the blades, that's just backwards. I wouldn't do that. You're just asking for trouble. That'll make the machine break down faster. You're going to wear your clutch out faster. Sooner or later, one of these times, you're going to go pop the belts on, pop the blade on with the motor wide open, and that belt's going to snap. That's what's going to happen. It's going to get a crack in the belt from normal wear and tear, and you go to pop the blades on one time, it's just going to boom, it's going to blow. So that's my food for thought. If you read the manual and it's got something in there, some nonsense you don't think is right, chances are it's probably not right. I don't know who they got writing these manuals, but they're probably some college kids with a degree who have got a big brain on their shoulders and don't have a lot of common sense. But that's it. I just wanted to share with you the update of the blades. They lasted just as long as the factory blades, but these Skag blades are half the cost of factory blades. So I'm gonna keep running Skag blades and throw that grease zerk in there and grease your wheel bearings.